Okay, so hi everybody and welcome to the near final portions of our Health Equity Hackathon. We're very happy to be having pitch day today and to be joined by at least two really remarkable people that I've had the pleasure to know, Abdurrahman Ayman and Elsa Zikon. So without further ado, I'll let you introduce yourselves briefly, just to your name, kind of what you do very quickly, and where are you based? And then we'll get along right off with the pitches. So, yeah. Elsa, you can go first.
Sure. So, hi everyone. Thank you again, Rami, for inviting me to be here today. I'm looking forward to the pitches later on. I've been there one too many times myself, so I can only imagine how you feel right now. So, obviously, I'm Elsa, based in London. My background, I'm a scientist by training, have a PhD in infectious diseases and global health. I work by day as a life science consultant in life science strategy, but I also do work with Africa Europe Foundation, and I am a founder of a startup, co-founder of a startup, working in the biotech space. And yeah, looking forward to listening to your pitches today.
Lovely to have you with us. And next up, Abdurrahman, you can go ahead.
Thank you, Rami. I'll keep it short and crisp. It's a pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me for today. So for short, my name is Abdu. I come from a clinical pharmaceutical background. I followed up my studies with studying pediatric oncology, in specific Hodgkin's lymphoma, and that was my initial specialization. So worked a lot with pediatric cancer here in Egypt. Then segued from that, going deeper into health tech, currently an entrepreneur and a founder of a couple of tech companies, back to back, both in the health tech field and ed tech field, currently based in Cairo, in Egypt. And it's a pleasure to be here with you today.
Thank you, Abdurrahman. And Abdurrahman was a close colleague of mine during the Masters, so I'm very happy that he'll be joining us. And Tamsin, hi, thank you so much for joining, and no worries about sorting the kids.
Yes.
So yeah, please introduce yourself. Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Apologies. I'm going to make the apology in advance. I have a 7-year-old and a 9-year-old that are in theory on the other side of a door, but they may come in and out. So please avoid any noises. Don't worry about any noises. So I'm delighted to be part of this process. My name is Tamsin and I'm based in Brussels, but I'm originally from the UK. And I have worked on EU health policy since 2002. So that's 20 years. And over that time, I've seen an increased focus on digital health, and the transformation of health systems is something I'm particularly interested in. But I'm also very intrigued by what we could do to adjust the equity of the system, because health systems are supposed to be open, accessible, and deal with people equally, but they are biased. They are largely gender blind, which means that women are poorly served. Ethnic minorities and people whose skin color is not white, their medical devices are not designed to work as well. They're also poorly served. So I'm really interested in seeing how we can address the functional and structural inequalities that we find in health. And I'm delighted to participate in this hackathon.
And it's lovely to be having all three of you here today. And thank you really for making time on your Saturdays. I know that Saturdays can be a very kind of religious kind of personal time for people. So thank you so much for being able to be with us here today. So without further ado, we'll start with our first pitch. And so those will be liminal space. So 1 second as I get all the things in order. Let's see. You'll see if it don't worry if you just see yourselves on the screen. It is purposeful. So yeah. So you can be sharing your screen just for instructions. You can be sharing your screen very easily. And so the idea behind it is you'll have 5 minutes, and then the judges will have about 2 to 3 minutes to ask their questions before we leave them with at least a maximum of kind of 5 minutes to finalize their notes. So with that, I'll pass the baton on to you, Noor, and let me know when to start the time.
Hi, everyone. Lovely to have everyone here and see all your faces on screen until we hopefully maybe at some point can meet in person. So Hinata is going to start us off by what the liminal space is and give us a little bit of a background, and then we'll get right into it.
So should I start now?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead.
Hi, everyone. My name is Dinar. I'm very grateful for this opportunity, but I also think I need to have an apology in advance. I have a puppy at home, so if you hear a lot of barking, that means he's probably out of control, but hopefully he'll stay put. So my name is Dinar. I'm a counseling psychologist and a humanitarian worker and an expressive art therapist. How we got this idea basically is me being a therapist myself and a psychologist for like over a decade now and traveling the world as a humanitarian worker. My personal experience of not being able to express myself in words is something that I know is probably very common with a lot of people, and how all my insights actually came from art-related things. So I pursued my education in this field as well, and working with a lot of refugees and vulnerable communities around the world. I saw how arts itself in any form or way is a great way of communication, and how it brings communities together and help them move forward and enhance this feeling of connectedness. So Noor and I are studying in the same university. I'm doing my PhD there right now, and it was amazing to meet another Egyptian who thinks in the same way. And we met like nowhere in the Swiss Alps, which I never thought I'd meet another Egyptian. And this is where the idea came, how we wanted to bring this back to Egypt, basically to enhance this sense of connectedness within the community and help people express themselves in non-traditional ways, and to decrease the stigma around mental health, that if you are struggling with something, it means that you have to go to a therapist and talk about it. So this is basically the beginning of the idea, and I'll let Noor talk more, and then we'll just jump on each other's thoughts. Go ahead, Noor.
Noor, you're muted.
Sorry. Yeah, okay. Thank you, Hinad. So I'm going to go through basically very quickly the what, the why, the where, the who. So our 5 W's. Essentially, our what is the liminal space? So our idea is to create a space that is for creative art therapies, that brings creative art therapists and individuals who are interested in any form of expression in any kind of art under one roof in one space. Ideally, we want to create an entire building that is catered for creative therapy as a place for the therapists and for people who want to work on their wellness and their health. So this is our what. Our why, as you know, mentioned a bit of our own backgrounds and our own history into why we found this passion and the need to hopefully create this, is we wanted to support individuals who are not comfortable in different kinds of therapies. And that's our first point. The second is we want to build a community of people who are alike and interested in social change using the arts. The arts are a very powerful tool that don't require language, that don't require a skill. It just requires yourself. And I do genuinely believe, we both Hinad and I, that it can be a very powerful tool to get back to yourself and to be used as a stepping stone for improvement in the future, and to bring different communities can use the arts, that we can work on our health in different ways. We would also be working with NGOs and corporate companies have retreats. Our who is we're going to be working with vulnerable communities and upper middle class, and anyone who has an interest in wellness. And how? By creating this wellness space. I'm going to share very quickly some images of past workshops we've done. I know we're running out of time, or have we run out of time?
You're 5 seconds away, yeah. So.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
so,
that's okay.
all right, so judges, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I can go if you allow me to start.
Yeah.
Okay, very fast question to kick off. Thank you so much, Noor and Hanar. I appreciate it a lot. I think it's a very innovative idea for a currently existing problem that's, I think, quite predominant in Egyptian society. Breaks a lot of taboos also and stigma and current existing paradigms. So my first question in that regard will be, such initiatives are usually faced with a very strong difficulty, let's say, to be able to create a sustainable platform. They kind of like end up being like pop-up shops or flash experiences that exist for a short period of time and then they cease to exist. What are your plans down that regard to ensure the sustainability of the effort and ensuring it can create a long-standing impact?
One part, thank you, Abdurrahman, for the question. One part of the sustainability is actually empowering these people to be like agents of change within the community so they can help more people. And another thing is also now I did a pre-PhD certificate where I'm actually by the university in Switzerland that I'm allowed to teach expressive arts therapy. So I'm hoping as well to provide some certificates or diplomas so we have a bigger cohort of therapists who can help others as well. So this is one thing. Right now, yes, I'm doing the pop-up thing, workshops here and there to people get familiarized with the idea, but this is the long-term plan. Yeah.
Okay, clear.
Can I also add that another part of it being sustainable would be that the business model at first in this building would have to cater to people who are privileged enough to have access and can pay for these services. So we could actually provide the other services to the vulnerable communities.
Clear.
All right, one more question.
I'm happy to go next. Thank you very much for that. And I'm obviously not familiar with the Egyptian landscape, but my question is more around, okay, now you're obviously pitching for the chance to win 500 euros. And from my understanding, you have a building and then you have a community, right? So where does the 500 euros go towards? Is it towards the building? Because there's obviously the costs from the building in itself. Do you have this space already? Or is it more so towards the community, towards the training, so in terms of priority, what is your priority list and where would this 500, I keep saying pounds, euros go towards?
No, do you want to go or should I go?
No, go ahead. Just to
We
clarify
have a couple of places in mind.
Yeah.
I think some of it will go into those pop-up workshops that would help us, like under the liminal space as a name, to help us gain this popularity and help people familiarize, and also with probably art materials that we'll be using as well. So this is the first step, and hopefully something into like the whole marketing part of the name itself and the surveys and all of these things. Just the prep step, I guess I would say.
Okay.
Tenzin, if you have a
Yeah.
wrap question, we could fit it in.
Okay, I just wanted to get a question here around the issue of stigma. Who do you think it's mostly young people who are going to come in, and is this the best place for them to engage, or are they already a community that's got access and is creative, is using art and music and dance? Do you see any generational issues perhaps for older people? And you mentioned also bringing communities together. Are there people perhaps, and again I don't know the Egyptian background, are there different ethnic minorities who perhaps don't speak the majority language who you might reach out to? How inclusive is your message?
So just to understand the question, how inclusive is the message and which population would be dealing with first? Youth is a very big population, but it's not limited to youth, no, because so I've seen how this has changed within my own very small community of my family. So my mom is not my dad actually is not artistic at all, but he's become super supportive of it because he's like, oh wow, kind of cool, it kind of works. I'm having fun. I'm knowing how to deal with different things. And I've also started figuring out that there is a community for people who are in their 40s, 50s, and it's kind of like they're sick of the usual go to talk to someone, blah, blah, blah. So they want to try something new. They want to go back to having fun, being playful, curious, childlike almost. So that's a whole segment of people that we would be addressing. And also for the vulnerable communities, the people who don't speak languages, I've done workshops with refugees. Hinad has worked with refugees. With the refugees, it depends on the language. Some of them only speak English, some of them speak Arabic only. So that it does alternate depending on the need of the population. And not just the refugees, there's also different so for example, in one of the workshops we did with the refugees.
Noor, I'm sorry to cut you off, but we're going way over.
All right, but yes, it is inclusive. The method can be used for everyone and be adapted. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Liminal Space team.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll just give the judges maybe 2 minutes as they wrap up. And I'll get on the back end of making the spotlights and everything. Thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you guys for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's not allowing me to spotlight some people. It might be because they're joining from their phone. Have I gotten everybody who's going to present from Shamsiya?
I think it's only going to be me talking on behalf of the team.
Okay.
I don't know how that factors in with the.
Are they going to jump in for the questions?
If they feel like it, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think I'm going to
It
be
doesn't matter
presenting on
because
behalf of the team to make things easier. Yeah.
Yeah. If you share your screen, then it's fine. So don't worry.
Yeah. Okay.
Judges, how's it going on your end?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good to go.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
So without further ado, Shamsiya, you have the mic.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Amira. Let me just share my screen quickly before we start the time and check that everyone.
Just let me know when you want me to start it.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to share the presentation from your end, or do you want me
You
to
can share it directly, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that would be better. Okay, just a sec.
So you have more control over it.
Yeah. Exactly. Just a second. Can everyone see the screen?
Yes. Do you want me to start the time?
Yeah, okay.
All right. Good luck.
Okay. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Where I'm from, it's afternoon, so good afternoon. I'm Amira, and I'm presenting today on behalf of the Nosah team from Egypt. Let me start my presentation today with asking a simple question of what if? If £1 million can help change the lives of 100 people, what if we stretch out the £1 million to change the lives of 1,000 people? The story of Salma is going to tell you exactly how. Salma is a 9-year-old schoolgirl diagnosed with a very rare congenital disease that requires monthly treatments that were very expensive and her family couldn't afford. Her mother first approached us at Shamsaya asking for help in the form of donation. And for a while, we actually did help her out with money, but we felt like this was not a very sustainable way for her family to continue to live. We also wondered, why should she bear the burden of paying for her treatment and pay out of pocket when students' insurance is supposed to be taking responsibility for that? After numerous failed attempts to get the treatment that she is entitled to, because Salma was registered and she was entitled to this treatment for free, we decided to file a lawsuit on her behalf, and we actually won the lawsuit. And Salma now is getting this treatment for free. And the money that was focused on just one case or one patient is now put to better use and used to help many other patients who have no other alternatives, such as Salma. Let me share some interesting numbers with you. Egypt is a country where 30% of the population actually live below the poverty line. 58% of Egyptian citizens are entitled to benefit from healthcare coverage and healthcare insurance. However, 80% of those 58% do not utilize these healthcare services. When they get sick, they choose to overburden themselves by out-of-pocket expenditure on healthcare, or they resort to the help of local NGOs or rely on charity donations. Why is that, you might ask? It's simply because people are not aware of their rights. They're not aware of what they're entitled to when it comes to healthcare. Secondly, the bureaucracy of the system does not help them actually reach the knowledge they need to claim the healthcare services they're entitled to, and because of the low quality of services provided. Nosah was born with Salma, and in case you're wondering, in Arabic, Nosah actually means the advisor, and it's actually a play on words because in colloquial Egyptian language, it means the street smart. For the past year, Nosah has been acting as the navigator or GPS system for Egyptian patients of the healthcare system. We have been guiding them, supporting them, advising them, and fighting their battles for them. Our ultimate goal at Nosah is to help Egyptian patients actually get the most out of the coverage they're entitled to. And we hope to also share our experience through feedback in order to improve the healthcare services provided. How do we do that? We try to achieve that by offering a phone assistance service that guides patients on how to best make use out of the Egyptian healthcare system based on their coverage, their needs, their conditions, and their geographic locations. All they need to reach us is have access to a phone. We have a landline that they can reach us through, or to have access to a WhatsApp service through which they can reach us as well. We also consistently produce informative and empowering social media content on our various social media platforms that help actually educate people on their rights. But what if you are too poor to have access to a phone or access to the internet or to WhatsApp, which is unfortunately the case with a lot of Egyptians? We will come to you. We will come to you in the form of a Nosah couch, which is actually the next phase of our expansion plan. Through our close on-ground work with local NGOs over the past year, we have realized that a physical presence for a Nosah is actually severely needed. Our physical presence will be in the form of a very comfortable couch at the local facility, a laptop, an internet connection, and a fully trained Nosah local ambassador being present on ground to actually answer people who do not know where to go for help. Also, our close on-ground work with local NGOs has revealed another need, which is the need to train local capacities at these NGOs in order to be able to help the patients, so that when we're not available, they're there to guide patients on where to go and where to ask for help.
Thank you so much, Amira. So yeah, I think at this stage, so we've reached the 5-minute mark. So I don't know if you.
Oh, I thought, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you
So-
were gonna alert me when, like, okay, thank you.
I did. I wrote in the
Oh,
chat.
I'm sorry, I did not
Yeah,
catch
yeah.
that. I'm really
okay.
sorry.
No worries. So judges, do you have any questions?
I am happy to go first. Thank you very much for that. That was very, very insightful. As someone who works in market access, definitely, yeah, I find it quite intriguing because that's something that even people here in the UK still face, not understanding how to go around certain things. I think the part that I missed, or I don't know if you might not have gotten to it yet, is the business model. How
Mhm.
Elsa, we can't hear you.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Hello, can you hear me? Is that any?
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
we
yeah.
can now.
Now we can. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So yes, I think I just said thank you very much for that. Find it very interesting, especially as one who works in market access as well, and trying to navigate policy and access to drugs and this problem that you find even here in the UK. So yeah, I think it's a very interesting presentation and concept. So the question is, I don't know if I missed it or if you were still getting to it, the sustainability / business model side of it. What does that look like?
The idea is very simple, and I think that's the point I was trying to get to, but I ran out of time. The idea is very simple and easily replicable and sustainable, because all you need is basically a couch and someone who's aware and knowledgeable enough of the healthcare system in Egypt in order to be able to help the patients. We work very closely with local NGOs that help us actually reproduce or replicate the model throughout their facilities or their clinics. Yeah, so that's basically what we're trying to go for during the next phase of our expansion.
Okay, sorry. So who pays for the service, or does anyone pay for the service?
We try to rely on the help of our NGO partners and on individual personal donations or donations from international organizations or charity organizations who we pitch the idea to, and they act as partners for us throughout the project.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Shall I go next, Amira? Thank you very
please.
much. I really enjoyed your presentation, and I think you put a lot of effort into analysing what the challenges are, and that was really great to understand who you would serve. I'm interested in, we talked about Salma, and she, instead of getting donors to pay for her medicine, she got access to it. That's great, but you talked about how do you stretch that to 1,000 people. So now that you've got this landmark judgment, does that automatically mean that Selma number 2 or Selma number 3, Selma number 4 would automatically get it? Or are you going to have to keep fighting this battle one patient at a time? And is there any chance as a future sustainability model that hospital authorities or health authorities that in theory should be paying for it might engage you to do outreach for them, because they might actually be interested in serving their patients? And maybe I'm a bit over optimistic, but is that a way forward?
That is the ideal scenario. I mean, thank you for your question. That is the ideal scenario that we would hope. As I said, 58% of the citizens only can benefit from healthcare insurance. But the problem is that they're not aware that they can benefit from this insurance. But in the case of Salma, she did have the insurance, but she could not actually claim it. She could not get the treatment she was entitled to. And a lot of patients actually rely on these donations and the help of NGOs. So in cases where there is an alternative that can be state-sponsored.
I think her internet cut.
We would rather.
You're back, Amira.
Oh, I'm sorry, did I break up?
Yeah, you can respond.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
I'm sorry, as I was saying to myself, apparently. So what you're saying is the ideal scenario, and it's actually what we would hope for in an ideal world, but it's sadly not the case in Egypt. Only 58% of the population is insured by healthcare coverage. And a lot of others rely on these charity donations. They rely on the help of local NGOs. So the donations are there, the money is there. But instead of using it on a case which can actually benefit from state-sponsored treatment, we choose to redirect this money to people who do not have other alternatives. And meanwhile, educating these people that they do have another pathway that is actually their right and that they should take and they should claim. But on the long run, we have to educate people enough in order to ask to be given these rights for free.
Okay,
I
once
don't
more.
know if I
Yeah,
may jump in. Can I jump in?
no, there's no
Okay.
time. There might be
Okay.
time just for a question, but not a elaboration.
Final fast question.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, team, for the fantastic presentation. I'd just like to, being back in Egypt and seeing local reality, I think that the government currently has plans for the launch of universal health insurance, which has started around 3 years ago with the governorate of Port Said, Ismailia, and then they're trying to spiral it out to further that umbrella in other governorates on a 10-year plan. How do you see yourself aligning towards that? And is there any type of liaison between you and the authority of the national healthcare insurance or universal health insurance that's going to be run by government? Because I think that's going to be key.
We are currently in discussions with certain representatives from the Ministry of Health and all the concerned entities in order to align our visions. But as you said, it's very early on. It's a very new idea and it's still not applied throughout the country. But hopefully as the idea evolves, our model will evolve with it. We are working with what we have right now, but we are in discussions with the concerned entities. So we are aware of the changes that we might be seeing soon.
All right. Well, thank you so much to everybody, and thank you for the judges for your questions. And Team Nasser, thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. So we'll leave maybe 2 minutes for the judges to wrap up their scoring, and then we'll pass the baton on to Equipo Europa. I always think about playing music during this silence.
It's not a bad idea. Like some of them be like, you know, but not the music you used to play back at school, because I don't think that's gonna work here.
No, yeah.
I think I want to hear that music now, Rami.
Yeah.
What did you used to play back?
Rami's a legend. He's a Schwartzman Scholars legend.
You need to put this playlist in the chat at the end.
Yeah, apparently.
I'm good to go.
Oh, the rest. All right. See thumbs up. Tamsin. All right. So Equipo Europa, you have the mic. Just let me know when you want me to start the timer.
Okay, just first of all, I'll just present myself and then we'll go into the pitch. So I'll tell you when we start. So I'm David Lane and I'm a member of Equipo Europa, and I'm joined by Silvana and David, who are also members of Equipo Europa, which is a Europeanist youth association. And I'm just going to ask Silvana to share the screen. So,
all right,
okay.
should I start?
Perfect. So first of all, hello everyone.
Should I start?
Today, yeah, sure. Sorry, I'll start again then. So hello everyone. Today I'm happy to present you Equipo Europa idea to improve the mental health in our community. So despite its high economic and social value, societies across the income spectrum do not take informal care into consideration. So what is informal care and why does it matter for health? So cleaning, cooking, taking children to school, making sure they do their homework, spending playtime with them and putting them to bed is our usual but sometimes an incomplete list of care and responsibilities in many households. And we believe that this is a potential mental health issue for people who have to reconcile these care and responsibilities with their work responsibilities. So unfortunately, this is also a mental health issue that especially affects women from low-income households and migrant status. So why do we believe this is important? We believe that taking care of those that take care of us is not only a moral responsibility towards these caring groups, but it's also a responsibility towards future generations that have a right to grow up in a healthy social environment, and especially in the household. So how can we improve the mental health of women from vulnerable groups such as low-income status and migrant communities? I think there are many ways, or we think there are many ways to tackle this issue and from many angles. But we thought we wanted to tackle this in the most cost-effective way. So we thought, what is the one thing that could really make a difference for the mental health of women? And our answer to that question is providing affordable and accessible childcare services. We believe that the best way to tackle this is by redistributing care responsibilities from women to public institutions. We've seen that some countries have seen especially good results for the work-life balance of women after they started providing childcare, free childcare services. However, we do acknowledge that this is a costly measure and it's far from easy to implement. Therefore, we propose a reduced fee childcare service that is progressive, with fees progressively increasing according to socioeconomic status as measured by income. So that would solve the affordability issue, but what about accessibility, and how do we make sure that these services are accessible regardless of not only socioeconomic status, but also nationality and linguistic background? So this is where we started to think about women who are also migrants and who are probably not as fluent in the native language. As migrant status individuals often face high linguistic and cultural barriers in accessing these basic social services, as they often have to deal with large, depersonalized and sometimes even hostile administrative institutions. So we want to make sure that this doesn't happen. And the solution that we provide to this is to provide a decentralized management points and information centers in childcare centers that would ensure that the enrollment process is easy and is accessible and is near to the household. And also in taking into account the limited resources that we would have in deciding the location of these centers, we think the priority should be given to low-income areas, first of all, and also that we provide translation services within these centers that would reflect the demographics of the area. So just to wrap up, we think that mental health is a wide concept that is influenced by a number of individual, social and economic factors. And rather than addressing the issue at the individual level, we believe that the crucial mental health test for our societies will be to create a healthy social environment that is conducive to healthy work-life balances. So we hope that this proposal helps to address this issue and we're open to answering any questions or concerns about this. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, and with time to save. So judges, if you have any questions.
Thanks for that, David. I'm just a little bit unclear, what is the service that you're offering? Is it to set up childcare, or is it to help people get through the bureaucracy of signing up, or to inform that? I just couldn't get a sense of that.
Should I go, or does anyone else? Okay, so so yeah, it is a bit broad in scope. We understand that this service would be, yes, providing additional affordable childcare, so therefore reduced fees, but also improving the accessibility. So it wouldn't necessarily be free, but it would be provided according to income first, and then to make sure that migrant communities can access it, we would provide translation services and to offer an easier enrollment process. And thank you for the question, sorry.
Tim, do you have a follow-up?
Where is the geography of, I mean, is this in one country, across Europe? And also, early childcare is highly regulated and very expensive. Each country has different rules on it. So I'm still at a loss as to whether what you're offering is setting up new creches. Is it helping people who are normally have difficulty accessing because they have a right to it? I mean, I'm still, you know, and I speak as someone who, you know, went through the nightmare of trying to get my kids childcare in Belgium. So I know it's a huge challenge, but I'm not quite sure still what's the heart of your issue.
So yeah, we were thinking, especially thinking about the Spanish setting, and it's true. Also, the Spanish setting is pretty complicated because it's a highly decentralized state, and therefore it's highly regulated, but it's regulated at the more regional level. And there's different, in Spain, there's obviously different regulations for different regions. One of the problems we saw is that it's usually very binary. So it's either free or it's not free. And I think that one of the problems there is that, you know, not enough people get free childcare or get affordable childcare. So our idea would be to sort of not make it binary, in the sense that it would take into account the sort of the inequalities that are not either you're poor or you're rich, but that reflect a sort of a social gradient.
Cool. Maybe I can jump in here with a fast question. First of all, thank you so much, team. I wanted to know, like, when it comes to this issue in specific, what are current alternative solutions that do exist at this point in time, and how are you different, or how are you differentiating yourself? Why are you jumping into this space?
So the problem is that right now in Spain, this cycle from 0 to 3 years old is not a public service, which means that it only people who can afford to pay for a private school can access this service. And there are some of these schools that have like a scholarship system for families from for low income families. But as David said, this is not enough to cover all the spectrum of vulnerable groups. So the difference is like the progressiveness of the system we are proposing, that which means that each family would pay this service according to their income level. And I don't know if you guys want to add something.
Thank you.
Elsa, do you have a question? It's time for it.
No, I think Tamsin asked what was on my mind. So, but thank you very much for the presentation.
Yeah. All right. So we'll just give the judges 2 minutes, and then we'll have a wrap. Thank you so much, Equipo Europa.
Thank you, Rami.
Thank you.
I'm good.
I will do the. I will share my my playlist from.
You should share about also the nature of your cross-cultural project and extracurricular activities that were created on campus, let's say.
We're good. We're good. So once Elsa is done, take your time. You have a little bit more, don't worry.
I'm going to listen, by the way, and I'm totally judging you off this now, Rami.
Oh no, yeah. So before anything, obviously we want to be thanking the judges so much for spending time with us today. I think they also deserve a round of applause. So thank you so much. Really, I think that a lot of what's really important in a lot of these spaces is the mentorship that comes from people who have had successes and failures and are able to kind of mentor people. And so I wanted to ask actually if any of you have something to kind of leave us with to be considering during this time as all the participants kind of wrap up the hackathon by October 3rd. So yeah.
How did you find it? What was the experience like? I mean, is this your first hackathon?
This is a feedback session from the participants. You can be frank, don't worry.
All right, I'll be frank. No, I'm just kidding. It's actually it was a great experience. It was a bit condensed, I would say. It was a bit stressful trying to get through all the assignments and the modules in a short time. But no, I think I learned a lot. So I'm very grateful for this experience. I'm very happy to be here and listen to your feedback and be part of a great community. So thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah, so just for context for judges, so all the participants have access to a social innovation training by Shaping Horizons. And so it operates on a module basis. And so a lot of these different kind of courses really try its best to take that idea from, either something that it's just an idea, it's just a pebble, into something more fruitful, and kind of guiding them in the action steps that they can be taking. And so because the ideas can be at different stages, every different curriculum is also tailored to the teams. So we're very grateful, obviously, for Shaping Horizons to be part of this hackathon. And I hope that they've been really good, at least with giving us feedback on everything. So we hope likewise it is for participants. Abdul, you can share your wide range of expertise of successes and failures if you want.
I'd like to share more about the failures, I think, because that's, I think, more important, because like any entrepreneur, the default state of any startup, from my very humble perspective, is a challenge uphill. So the default state of a startup, if only 1 out of 10 succeeds, then the default state of a startup is a very, very big challenge not to fail. So don't keep your head up. Don't put your head down. You'll be faced with a lot of no's, especially when you're endeavoring deeper into seeking funding or seeking partnerships, etc. Because it's always easier for people to say no for anything that is different, for anything that is innovative, for anything that's outside of the box, because that's typical social norm, and that's why it's called social conformity. So just keep your head up and have the conviction, because I think one of the key things that I've seen in entrepreneurs that have succeeded is that they failed a lot in the process towards achieving that success. So there is no success that comes without failures. Even when you look at a lot of those big names that you see out there that are flashy, or people that put in $1 million rounds of funding or multi-million-dollar rounds of funding, and you see them putting on like the big smiles on the Forbes articles, etc. That's not the default state, and that's not how it happens. And a lot of people that actually do incredible things that are remarkable go unsung most of the time. So make your main conviction driven by that mission that you embarked on since the beginning, and expect a lot of failure along the way, but make sure that your grit and resilience make you push through. And I'll share a very, very small pointer on that. So for example, during my first startup journey, to be able to get our first $1,000 of support, or it was a $5,000 check back at that point in time. I remember we had to reach out to more than 60 individuals and received 59 no's until we got that $5,000 check on the 60th attempt. So keep your head up.
It's your charm, Abdul. It's the charm. You charmed the 60th. That's how it worked. So yeah.
Yeah, I think I'll just jump in there. Obviously, I agree with everything that Abdul has said. Couldn't have said it any better myself. But the one thing I'll probably say is the humility to ask for help and know your strengths and your weaknesses, and know where you need to grow. And we all need to grow. I'm still growing. I probably reach out to Tanzan, Abdul after this and chit chat about a whole bunch of stuff. And I think it's also not getting trapped within the concept of networking up, but also networking within yourselves. Because if you're going, so that networking across, if you're all going through the same or similar journey, one person might have heard of something or know something that might support you in that stage, that will obviously take you to your next. And then, it's a community and an ecosystem that you're building. I found that here in London, the degree of separation, they say the degree of separation now within people is 6 in London, and the startup ecosystem, especially VC, is 1. Literally, it's like 1 call away. So it's good and it's bad. Good because you are 1 call away, bad because if you do a bad job, everyone will know. So just make sure that you are backing yourself in every single thing and you are being authentic as possible throughout the process. So yeah.
I also want to encourage you all. I think, it's not easy to, be put under that sort of pressure cooker of try to come up with an answer, and you've got only a small amount of time, and you've only got a small amount of time to both think it and then deliver it. And I think you all did a really good job of trying to marshal your thoughts and put them in order. One of the things that I was particularly interested in is the extent to which you looked at problems that were you were very ambitious. All 3 of you were looking at big structural issues, and I find that encouraging. I think entrepreneurs and social change activists should look at the big picture and see, where are the fault points in this system. And I think you all tried to find, practical ways to address it. But I think it was a really good start by looking to say, where in this system is the problem, and where are the points we could intervene that could create the snowball of change. And I think that's a really good sort of principle and a good way always to start for things. So I want to encourage you all for that and congratulate you for having not just said, here's a problem, let's fix that problem, but take a step back and say, what's behind this? What are the things that are holding it in place and how do we address that? So I really want to encourage you on your path towards being social entrepreneurs and social change activists. We need more people like that who are committed to change, who look around and say, who is not being served by the current system and how could we adapt it so it does? So I was very encouraged to hear all of your different presentations.
All right, and so before we close up, it'd be lovely to have a photo with everybody. I know that these photos are always very strange because it's like I'm staring at my camera. But it'd be really just lovely in order for us to be having, you know, this kind of memory, not just within Generations for Health, but I'll be sharing it also via email. So yeah, if everybody can open their videos, if you can open your video, that's okay. But yeah, so hopefully you can be smiling. If you don't smile, it's okay too. So all right, so I'll count. So 1, 2, 3. Abdul. There you go. 1, 2, 3. All right, that's it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So if you want to stay and mingle, I mean, that's kind of up to you. If you have to go, that's okay as well. We'll leave it for maybe at least 10 more minutes. And then if you need to go, you're welcome to. So thank you again for everybody who presented, and thank you, judges, for having spent this time with us.